Hey everyone, Dodie Ainsley here from BT Bosse's Tech Integrationist. Let's learn about Jamboard and 5 ways you can use it for remote learning. Let's get started. Number one, use it for a whiteboard. If you're doing a class that's online through Zoom or Google Meet or another platform, you can go ahead and project this and actually do your notes as you're talking. Learning about any kind of concept. In this case, it's the water cycle. And when I'm done with this, I can actually then take this and share it out on Google Classroom or whatever platform you use as notes. So this is a great way to use it as a whiteboard. It's got awesome features for just a regular whiteboard and can be exported out as a PDF or as an image. Number two is student collaboration. Now let's take that scenario from the beginning, right? You're on that call with them and you're meeting with them and you just went over the water cycle. Well, now you want them to collaborate with each other. So you put them in breakout rooms and you tell them, you know what? Now you do. You go to the frames. So you assign them specific frames and say, two more students are on frame two. Their job when they get into those breakout rooms is to take this shared document and draw their own water cycle. And then think about if there were one of these parts was not, something happened to the environment and it was not able to, condensation was not able to happen in the atmosphere, or for some reason precipitation never happened. What would happen to this water cycle? Would it be able to continue without that part? Or would there be serious environmental problems? So again, you're taking this simple concept, this whiteboard, but you're sharing it with the students. And then you're saying to them, all right, for the next 5-10 minutes, you're going to be in breakout rooms. Each one is going to have a frame that they're going to be working on. And then we're going to come back and you're going to share your water cycle and what you think might happen if one of the parts all of a sudden disappeared. All right, student collaboration, great ideas to use Jamboard for. Number three is brainstorming. This is a great tool to brainstorm remotely because you can share a Google Jamboard out to students and have them just brain dump all of their ideas on this board. And then you can have them sort them. So in this example, I had the students think about what questions they had, and in order to help the community. What questions did you have that came up when we were talking about social good? And so you can see that they just dumped things in here. Why are there still people who go hungry? How can I help clean up the park? So they just dumped things that they thought about for their community, to help their community. And now from here, we can take these brainstormed ideas and we can then sort them and say, okay, this is light pollution, this is food, this is pollution. Why are we seeing more forest fires? We're not sure where that would go at this point. Why is the river so low? We're not sure about that. But you can see we can kind of then start sorting our ideas and go from there. So a great way to use Google Jamboard to brainstorm and sort ideas. Gathering and organizing ideas is number four. And this is kind of similar to what we just talked about, having kind of a brainstorming session and then organizing it. But here it goes even further. You can use Jamboard to do graphic organizers, to do diagrams, to have students show relationships between things, i.e., you could do a cause and effect here where they're actually putting down what either you're putting down cause or effect and having them fill in the rest. There's a lot of different ideas that you can do. The best part about this is that you've got the ability now to do arrows. That's a new feature. We can duplicate the arrows so we can then show a flow chart if we wanted to. Lots of cool ideas on ways to gather and organize ideas for students. A timeline you could do in here really well, especially for like the plot of a story or for social studies. Some great ideas of how to gather and organize using Jamboard. Last but not least, number 5, evidence of learning. Here are just some ways that you can have students show their learning using a Jamboard. Here's an example of word work that you could use. You could put this sort out through Google Classroom and or other learning management systems, and you could have them sort them. So this one is actually done, but you can see that they're sorting. It's a short vowel sort, where they're moving things around and showing their learning. Here's an example of a math where the students get this board, this Jamboard, and they are sorting by half. They are sorting for less than half. They are sorting for more than half. So you can see that they're actually going to be pushing these out and sorting through, showing their learning on what a fraction is. And here's some other examples as well. So here's a science one where the students could then take their pen, and I'm going to take the marker, and they could point to things. They can do text boxes where they say that this is water erosion and why they think so, however they want to do that. Here's another example. You could put in something to label. I put a word wall in there for them, but basically they could take their markers and they could point to something, and they could either write on it or use a text box, talk about the fine focus and the coarse focus and the arm and whatever else they would like to do. All right, so a nice way of showing their learning on the parts of a microscope. Here's an example of a math problem, and all I did was I copied and pasted this math problem here, and then I already started to put in some for tape diagrams. And so in this case, I have my shape in there, my rectangle. I could go ahead to the marker and I could say, okay, Brienne has 23. Here's my 23 equals 23. And then Alonzo has 45 pennies. And so the answer, so I'm basically saying, okay, how many altogether? I need to find the unknown, which is here, before I can then find out altogether. And so the idea is that they can show their learning through drawing as well as bringing shapes in. That's the beauty of Jamboard, is that there's just such a variety of tools, even though it's as simple as it is, right? And of course, showing their evidence in Google Classroom is really super easy because you just push it out as a copy for each student. So each student is going to complete this, and each student is going to be able to show their learning in some way. So Jamboard is just packed full of ways of showing learning, as well as collaboration and using as a whiteboard, just all sorts of ideas. I hope you try it out. I think it's a super cool tool, and I love to use it with students, and they seem to like it as well. Have a great day.